How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to wide receiver cornerback matchups to watch week 10. This is 14P Fantasy. I am your host, Justin Wright. Before we get into it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, drop a like, a comment, a question, whatever you have. We'll answer what we can throughout the week. Follow me over on Twitter at Justin_14P. Catch the podcast account at 14P_fantasy. All right. We got 4 matchups here. Some pluses, some minuses. Again, none of these matchups are saying you need to outright sit this player because, they have a somewhat difficult or somewhat, unfavorable matchup. And it's not saying they're a must start because they're in a potentially positive spot. Again, we don't know the shadow, like who's going to shadow who, how those splits break out. These are just things to keep an eye on when you're trying to decide, maybe some of those tiebreakers on players in similar tiers potentially. So the first one, we got Rashod Bateman versus the Miami secondary as a whole. So we're talking Byron Jones and Xavier Howard specifically. Obviously, Rashod Bateman, the up-and-coming rookie, in week 4 now of his season, now that he's gotten healthy. And the thing is, the last 3 weeks, he's seen 20 targets. He has seen a 19% target share each of the last 2 weeks. And the Ravens have been throwing more and more often. Again, the defense hasn't been what it was. So you're really thinking, okay, well, what kind of volume is he gonna see? And who's covering him? And I don't expect a full shadow here. Again, if anybody's getting shadow, it's probably Hollywood. So he'll see some of Byron Jones and some of Xavier Howard. And what have they done this year? I mean, we all know the matchup for fantasy wide receivers. It has been gold against Miami. And that's become very obvious. Again, 6 touchdowns allowed between the 2 corners. Byron Jones himself is allowing over 15 points a game. Howard is allowing over 16 yards a catch. So Rashod Bateman and Hollywood Brown both are set up pretty well in this matchup. Neither of these corners are really performing to the size of their contracts. Again, they should have had 2 lockdown corners, and they've been anything but. So Rashod Bateman, he does get a bump in this matchup because, again, the corners just aren't good enough, I don't think, to contain this offense. And the only downside here for Bateman is, Baltimore does have the potential to get up early and then just kind of take the air out of the ball. So that's what you have to keep an eye on. But if I'm picking here, I'm picking Bateman over the Miami corners in this matchup. All right. Number 2, this is a star-studded one, obviously. We have A.J. Brown versus Marshon Lattimore. And we'll start with Lattimore here. And he is really, while he is an elite corner, that dude gets burned constantly. And again, we saw it against DK Metcalf. DJ Moore torches him, religiously twice a year, every year. So while he does, play to play, Marshon Lattimore is great. He always has these kind of lapses in judgment. When you look at that, he's 181st out of all eligible corners in burn rate this year. That is shocking. It's astounding. We're going to talk about a guy, Robert Alford, who has a burn rate of 0%. Marshon Lattimore, it's only 2%. But again, 2%, all it takes is one play to make a day relevant. And when you're talking about somebody like A.J. Brown, who, now that Derrick Henry is out, is going to see, 10-plus targets every single week, no matter what. Julio Jones is banged up. It's really, really difficult to do anything but, kind of upgrade him. And again, I'm going to give the nod to A.J. Brown in this matchup. He's too physical. He's too fast. He's too athletic, similar to DK Metcalf, who was really held in check, but also a lot of that had to do with Geno Smith being terrible. I do obviously assume Ryan Tannehill is going to play better than that. So if you're looking for DFS really here, I'm not shying away from the Lattimore matchup. Maybe some people are seeing it as a hard fade. I don't see it that way. Lattimore has those lapses like we have been talking about here. Give A.J. Brown the nod in this matchup. All right, number 3 here. This one it's weird. It's probably not 2 names you expected to see. It's Cole Beasley and Michael Carter. And Cole Beasley, and let me say this, not the Michael Carter, the running back, the slot corner for the New York Jets. Cole Beasley the last 3 weeks has turned his season back around. 2 games over 20 points. Last week had like 8 catches for 30 yards in a very weird game against Jacksonville. But he's seen 33 targets the last 3 weeks, 11 targets a game. And the thing is, I don't expect that to kind of stay where it's at, especially in this matchup. The Bills are smart. They're not going to target difficult matchups. So Cole Beasley going against Michael Carter is exactly that. Michael Carter is allowing under 10 points a game to the slot right now. They are allowing the fewest points to the slot in the entire NFL as of week 9. So really, Michael Carter here is become a lockdown slot corner, whatever that might be. Again, you get easier matchups typically. But Cole Beasley is going to operate in the slot. We know this. So if you got to give the edge to somebody, it's Michael Carter. Cole Beasley's been great, but he's a guy, again, I'm going to downgrade in DFS. I'm probably going to look to avoid or, at best be my second flex in a redraft league. All right. To close us out, we got one more here. It's DJ Moore versus the entire Arizona secondary. And if you're not familiar with who that is, it's Robert Alford, Byron Murphy, and Marco Wilson. You see me checking my notes because I don't remember those names off the top of my head because typically you don't have to. But Arizona, the last 4 weeks has been the 13th most difficult matchup for wide receivers. They have allowing under 30 points a game as well. They have been good against wide receivers. There's no other way to put it. And now with DJ Moore, you get Phillip Walker. Sam Darnold is now on IR. So what does that mean? DJ Moore has played one game, just one last year with Phillip Walker. And in that game, he won 11 targets, 7 catches, 127 yards. I'll take that all day long, no matter what. However, this Arizona secondary has been good. Outside of really Marco Wilson, who's allowing a passer rating of 135, Alfred and Murphy are both allowing passer ratings of under 100. They're not lockdown corners, but they're certainly not pushover matchups. Again, though, with this matchup and Phillip Walker now being the starter, I'm going to give the edge to DJ Moore, mainly because, this team just needed a change. Robbie Anderson was ready to retire, it seemed like. Just, he's done. Shoot Sam Darnold into the sun, kind of angry. And now, they get a little bit of juice, some running from Phillip Walker, hopefully something a little bit more accurate. So give DJ Moore that bump here. You got to start him in redraft, obviously. I get it's been tough. You're throwing him back into your lineups. In DFS, he's not a smash play, but a guy I will look to when trying to round out my lineups. DJ Moore, this is the bounce back week. It's got to be. All right, everybody. Short and sweet. That's all I have for you. Again, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me over on Twitter at Justin_14P. If you got start sit questions, whatever else, drop them in the comments and I'll answer as many as I can. As always, thanks for watching and we will see you next time.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.